Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. And today we have a very special guest and we're shooting a very special episode. Lots of round numbers. We are on episode number 100 of the David and David show. And we have a third David we're adding to the mix. We're adding today David Greenspan from Mindshare 101. David, so happy to have you on the show. Welcome.
It's an absolute honor to be here, gentlemen, and a big congratulations to both of you for hitting episode 100. That is a testament to consistency, discipline, and, when you put in the effort, you get the results. Congrats, guys.
Well, it's our honor to have you on today, David. We've been searching for, through 100 episodes to find another David to join us. And finally found one that can outdo us and has way more experience than we have in doing podcasts. So you're up to what episode now in your podcast?
We'll be recording episode 251 this afternoon. So we go live every Wednesday. 3 weeks out of the month we go live. On 1 week we do a solo episode. Have a lot of fun being able to do that. Just me, the microphone, and whoever's tuning in. So those are exciting. But we're doing one a week. We're going to 251 today, and super excited about it. I've had just some fantastic guests, some amazing listeners. The feedback has been, absolutely incredible. And I'll tell you, and we were saying this before we got on air, spending 5 years going once a week to put on a show. There's going to be some shows that, we thought in the moment they were great. Maybe you look back at them and you think they weren't as, there wasn't as much substance or value, but you learn and you try to figure out how you can be better at it. And let's say anybody that might have a podcast or anybody that's putting out video or anybody that's trying to get a message out there to anybody, what we call building mindshare, you won't always recognize what the results are. You won't always feel it in the moment. It is going to take time. And that's the biggest difference between most people and where I'd say I'm at and where I'd say you guys are at. To hit episode 100, that's not an easy task. To stay that consistent and be able to pull that off and be able to say, you know what, no matter what kind of frustrations we have coming up with content or finding guests or the time that we've got to carve out into our schedule and then do it again next week, you guys have done it. So big congratulations to you guys. And again, an honor to be here with you on such an awesome episode.
Well, thank you. I know it's a challenge, and I give a lot of credit to David Gorski on this because he really works harder than I do to come up with the guests and the topics. And so I want to give you a little credit, David, too. And I think most of our episodes we're pretty proud of. There's a couple we've finished. I'm not even sure if my mother's going to watch this one, but for the most part, I think we've got a body of work that we can be proud of. Whether or not you get the audience, you never know the full effect. And I think, David, you know this more than anybody. Like, you never know for sure who's watching, who's listening, how are they staying tuned to the whole episode? What content do they really like? Really hard to measure.
It is. And this is like, I would compare that. And this is for anybody. Look, if you got a podcast, I'd say as you're looking at your analytics from whatever, hosting service that you've got, maybe some of the actual podcast platforms that are out there, again, everything's going to give you different numbers. The other thing we need to recognize that there are a lot of different podcast platforms. You've got your big major ones and you've got these smaller micro ones that still get traction. And if your show is being syndicated across the board from one particular host and going out across a number of different platforms, you really need to break down the numbers and look at all of those different platforms. And I'm going to be straight up, I don't at all. I look at like the major podcast platforms. I look at iTunes just because they have wonderful analytics about the stuff. I look at my syndication service, but outside of that, I don't look at the other numbers. And so we're not getting the whole story. Now, for anybody that doesn't have a podcast, but you put out videos, or maybe you don't even put out video, you put out a post on social media, and then you sit there wondering, why didn't I get the likes? Why didn't I get the comments? Why didn't I get the engagements? Don't worry about that stuff. Like, don't allow the analytics and what other people's opinions are or are not, or what these big social media platforms tell you is happening. Don't allow that to drive what you're going to do next. If you truly have a passion for it, go do it. Show us why you're going to do more, be more consistent, be better. Keep trying to figure out how to get there. Had this conversation with a coaching client yesterday. We were talking about a particular marketing strategy, and I said, hey, and we've heard the line, I didn't make this up, but done is better than perfect. And then I actually challenged her too, and I said, I said, you're so focused on what you want to put in your email. Think about my email. Did you see my email this week? She goes, yeah. I said, what did it say? She goes, I don't remember. I said, did you see my email last week? She goes, yeah. I said, what did it say? She goes, I don't remember. So what about the week before? She's like, I don't know. I said, exactly. So what are you so worried about what you put in there? Be there. Show up there. And eventually you're going to build an audience there. And once you've got the audience that's there, now they're going to keep coming back and they'll be able to filter through for themselves. Guys, that show, that David guy sucked. But the one that you did just before, we really enjoyed it. And then they come back again next time. And I mean, if you think about your favorite television show, and I know mine, like wintertime, 7 p.m. Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, I get excited for that. But that happens, it's 7 p.m. hockey. It's not 4 p.m. It's not Sunday at 2 p.m. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. So when we think back to what the show looks like, and whether it's, again, posting on social media, recording videos, doing a podcast, find a consistent schedule that fits into your system and process, build out that system and process, commit to it, and don't give up no matter what people say or what people don't say or what you think they're not doing.
Yeah, I mean, David, it's great advice. And we've been pretty consistent with David Corman. We've been doing this for 2 years now, shooting episode 100. And we're getting lots of great positive feedback from agents, from industry leaders and people in the industry. But, it's easy to look at the analytics and say, we could be doing better. We could be doing more, right? But it's the consistency of actually doing it every week and actually really adding value and putting out content out there, right? And I think if you're consistently doing that, then the end results are going to justify the means. If you're not consistent with putting it out, right? People are not going to understand or be able to consume the content. And I think your analogy of what you said in your, whether the emails are coming, people don't remember what the content is. They just remember that the emails are coming every week and they're seeing the name recognition and they're seeing you in their inbox, right? And sometimes they'll have the time to actually consume the content, but they know that it's coming out. And as a business owner, you have to maintain that consistency in your own business. So as a coach and as a leader, we have to lead by example.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to take the time to do so. And something that you just said there triggered me of, we keep trying and we want to make it better and we want to look at those things. We all know Kevin Hart, comedian. If I asked you, or I'll ask you, do you gentlemen think that Kevin Hart has, quote unquote, made it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, as success, as an actor, or as someone doing advertisements,
Life.
That's life. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Read his book. You obviously haven't yet, and that's not a bad thing, but I only bring this up because when I read it, I realized that Kevin Hart doesn't think he's made it yet. Okay. Now that's a lesson for all of us because I think anybody could attest to the fact that he's probably one of the biggest or, funniest guys in the world, right? And could probably do anything he wants for the rest of his life and generations beyond if he stopped even today. Okay. And that's how well he's done and what we believe to be made it. He doesn't believe so. And that's not a negative thinking, but the way he spins that is that he's always trying to push the goalpost out a little bit further. So as he gets close to that place that he wants to be, he realizes, wait a second, I can do more. So here we are. Go way back 2 years ago to episode number 1 for you guys. Now, fast forward, you're on episode 100. Guaranteed this thing's gotten better over time. And it will continue to grow. And there's the difference now. There are so many people that had an idea to start a podcast, that had an idea to do anything, and haven't done anything with it yet. They will never get to that point because they just haven't started. Again, done is better than perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is.
And I think it goes hand in hand with what you mentioned, David, about the importance of just getting some content out there, whether, and this is for realtors too, whether it's just a short video they're doing or anything they're blasting in social media somewhere. It's not the actual message in that particular content that sometimes makes the difference. It's the collective message. It's the number of times you're in their face in different platforms, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, I know who that David is, or that David. I know what they do because I've heard them. Whether you're annoying or you're providing good content, you're in their face often enough, or they hear about you often enough, and the collective sort of works.
Hey, I've said it many times. I ain't everybody's cup of tea, but I don't
Yeah.
even like tea.
Yeah.
Know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
was just gonna say, David, I mean, good is such a subjective term, right? What's good to me might not be good to you.
That's it.
And, I think as we tend to judge certain things from our own point of view and our own lens, but somebody else might judge something completely different. So what's bad to you or what's bad to me might be amazing to a different customer. The point of view is that if you're authentically yourself and you're putting out content, you're going to jibe and really resonate on a high frequency with the people that you attract and that want to work with you. So as long as you're yourself, as long as you're passionate about, and then you're putting out, good content, you're going to resonate with people that want to work with you. And the people that you don't resonate with are not going to work with you. And that's okay. You're not supposed to be liked by everybody.
Hey, your vibe attracts your tribe. There are 8 billion people on this planet. You will not win them all over. There are 36 million plus in this country. You will not win them all over. So figure out who you are. One of my mentors said to me some time ago, we're having a big conversation about, and we do a lot of keynote speaking and things like that, and presence on stages and, in front of audiences. And again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Might be a little bit rough around the edges. I say the things that a lot of people don't want to say or be said, but I take it upon myself to have a lot of fun with that. And I enjoy doing that. And my mentor said to me one day, because we were talking about, again, presence. And he essentially said, he says, you got to be you. You've got to stop worrying about what people are going to think or how they're going to feel after you do what you do. He says, because there's going to be a ton of people in that audience that are really going to appreciate it. He says, and that's where you started to win over the years, is that you've been saying those things. I'm like, I know, but what if and all this stuff. And he says, look, if you do anything other, and this is the point here, if you do anything other than who you are, you're lying to your audience. Because now how much value do you really think you're giving them? And now you sit back and on a bigger level, and I thought about that to myself, and I thought, wow, that actually made me very comfortable.
Yes.
I can now go out there and just be me and comfortably me and understand that, Dave, you're not going to win 100% of the people in that room. Fine, done. But there's going to be a group of people that really love what's going on. And you know what? If we can serve those people, we're winning. And that comfort for me started to help me from a mindset, a personality, an ability, just go to another level, a content perspective. Because again, I was comfortable with me and I wasn't sitting there trying to appease everybody. Now, we're talking about a stage, but let's bring it back to a podcast. Let's bring it back to, again, the person posting on social media or doing a video or going out in a group of people. Recognize that, yes, people have differences of opinion. If that's okay.
David,
as long as you can be there and add some value and you can feel good about what you're doing, you will win.
Yeah, the biggest problem I see with realtors is the hesitation to act, taking that first step, that paralysis analysis, and that fear of being judged, or am I doing the right thing? Am I putting out the right content? How is this going to be perceived? Is my next door neighbor going to look at this post and judge me? Right. And I think if you're authentically yourself and you're just being you, that's easy to replicate. You can be yourself at any point in time. If you're in front of the camera and you're sitting up straight and you're gonna put on this persona and you're gonna speak in a different voice because you think that's what people want to see, they don't. No. They don't want to see that at all. They're going to turn on their news. They're going to turn on the TV. They're going to play a movie. If they want to see acting, they have a lot of media to tap into to go ahead and see somebody act. People want authenticity. They want to be able to know who you are. They want to be able to relate to you. They want to be able to know who they're doing business with, right? And people are vulnerable instinctively. Like we're all human. We all have our faults. So if you show vulnerability, if you're yourself and you're authentic, people can relate to that. And that's easy to replicate. And then all of a sudden, you're not judging your own posts and you're just putting them out there. And with time, they're going to get better. With time, you're going to see, okay, this post is getting more engagement. this post looks a little bit better. I'm going to make a little tweak here. And as long as you're doing it consistently and you're just showing up, you're going to get the impact that you're looking for.
Let's give an action step here. Okay. Everybody that's tuned in right now, take a moment to create your lifestyle list. What do you like? What do you love? Write it down. If you're thinking like, what do you mean? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys, what do you know about me? What do I like? What do I love? Can you name 1, 2, 5 things?
I know you like riding motorcycles. I know
Okay, done. Yeah.
you love your kids. I
Yeah.
know you talk about your wife quite a bit in your posts, how supportive she is.
We got to play that. You got to give me that clip so I can show that to her. Just so that she knows, right? But sorry, keep going.
I know you go to the cottage quite a bit. I know you love hockey.
Yep. All right. You're going down the exact road, right? And that's exactly my
I thought he was describing me when he was
But there's the exact point though, right? So what I've done through content, and it's nice to hear it, right? It's nice to know that that's what you're picking up from me, because that's what I do with the content. And now if you look and say, and it's funny because anybody that heard you say like, I love my kids, I love my wife, they'd all be sitting there going, yeah, so do I. Good. Share it. Talk about it. Let people know you're real.
That's
Give
relatable.
people a little glimpse behind the scenes, right? So again, create your lifestyle list. What do you like? What do you love? Motorcycles, family, sports, cottages, pizza. Okay, there's 5 things that I just listed off, and my list goes longer than that, but those are my 5 macro topics. So now you think to yourself, what are my macro topics? Maybe you like riding a bicycle. Write it down, playing the flute. It doesn't matter. Do it. Write it down. Then what we do is we break those down to micro topics. And we could take each macro and break it down to 5 to 10 micros. So if I said motorcycles, I could talk about my motorcycle. I could talk about the ride I just went on with the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation last week, where we raised over $44,000 for shelter. I could talk about the trip that I want to go on to go back to BC, the trip I want to go on to go back to the Cabot Trail. I could talk about all sorts of things when it comes to my motorcycle. And we're talking about little micro, a post, a story, a video, something very simple. I could show you how I do an oil change on the bike. And in fact, if you watch my stories enough at the top of spring, I probably do show you how I do that. And a lot of people would go, but why? Well, because now you've gotten to know me a little bit better.
And not
Now you
only
realize
that,
behind what you see on a podcast or on a stage, you go, wait a second, he's a real dude.
and think about who you're attracting to your business. You're attracting other people who share the same topics, right? So now when you go in for a listing presentation, you're not talking about the pricing strategy 100% of the time. You're talking about, what motorcycle you want to buy next and what modifications are you going to be doing and, what additions. I'm not a motorcycle guy. So
Or how the Blue Jays better win tonight's game because,
Right.
it's been a long season.
But I mean, those conversations are easier and they're more relatable, right? Than having a conversation purely focused around, pricing a property, which, don't get me wrong, that's an important conversation to have, but being able to relate to your clients and then having those other conversations and attracting those type of clients that have similar values and similar hobbies that you do makes life so much easier.
What's our biggest goal in this business? Every day.
Today it's getting a hit with runners in scoring position. That's
Yeah.
uppermost in my
I'll
mind.
take that one up, Dave.
Why can't that
Oh,
happen
man.
ever?
Ah, geez. You know what? I think there's some deeper rooted stuff there. I think unfortunately us Leafs fans have sort of parlayed over to our Jays. And when you look at what happened with Seattle last year, 8-1, and all of a sudden a debacle, it's like we saw with Boston Bruins, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really the problem. I really do. I think it's us as the fans, but
Yeah. That's the common denominator.
Biggest goal every single day. Build a relationship. So we talk about goals, right? We talk about what we're getting up to do. And I recognize that in this industry, our big thing is to, buy and sell real estate. But the reality is we don't buy and sell real estate. We help people buy and sell real estate. We negotiate incredible deals and we market properties. That's what we do. Now, in order to be able to negotiate a deal or to be able to market a property, we got to build a relationship. Somebody's got to trust in us. And the cliche line, know you, like you, trust you. Yeah, they got to get to know you. And that's why we talk about building Mindshare. Then they've got to get to like you. Now we just talked about commonalities, lifestyle list. Now it's about the trust you. Well, once you've got to trust you, because you got to get to know you and the like you before you get to trust you. Once you get to trust you, then maybe you've got an opportunity to help somebody with their real estate. So if everybody gets up every single day and thinks to themselves, my goal today is to go strengthen the existing relationships I have and build a new relationship. And when I bring that back to like quantifying that, just so everybody understands, and I say every single day, I'm not talking about ripping through your contact list every single day. I'm talking about 3 to 5 people on your contact list every single day. I'm talking about one new relationship every single day, because that's 365 new relationships. Whereas for some reason, the way this industry calls it, leads. I'm not a lead. I'm a homeowner. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a guy who can pay a mortgage. Understand that. This is not a bag of widgets or apples. So build a relationship with people and you will have the opportunity to get more business. And again, it goes full circle to what we're talking about with respect to putting out content and being consistent and being disciplined. And what are we talking about? And what, where's the likability? Because Dave, you're bang on when you say you walk in that listing presentation, instead of talking about the price of the house, you're talking about the Harley, you're talking about the Blue Jays, you're talking about something else. There's a commonality. When you have that, it is so much easier to do biz. And in fact, let's use this platform right here as a perfect example. Mr. Korman, we're just meeting today. Mr. Gorski, for how long have we been talking? Right? Number of years now. On and off. It's not every day, but a number of years. And we always say what's up and we're always friendly with each other. Right? Whether we poke at each other, have some fun. But we're always friendly. It's always been good. Relationships take time to establish. And that's the other thing we need to recognize. Just because you want it today doesn't mean it's going to happen today. I mean, if it was like that, we'd all be bajillionaires. Doesn't work like that.
Lots to think about.
Yeah, and what we sort of remiss for not starting with this, but I love listening to everything you're saying, David Greenspan, but it's because it's so credible. We haven't really given you a chance to talk about your background, what brings you to our podcast, your expertise, your knowledge, and why everything that you say I believe in and I listen to, and why everybody watching or listening to this should as well, because you've got a history in the business. You've got this incredible business. You're coaching other people. I better you describe it than me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity for that. And that's something that I think for us over the past number of years is we've really gone away from, and probably very much on purpose, is, we believe that if we are consistent enough and, again, disciplined enough, and yes, to everybody tuned in, you're hearing those words a number of times, there's a reason for it. Let those sink in. But we really believe that by putting out a message that has value, that resonates with our audience, that is, it comes from the street level, like the people, the feet on the street, walking it. We're getting that. And we're trying to take that and feed it back to the industry to try to help everybody else that's out there who might be struggling on their own be able to have something to sit back on and say, oh, it's not just me, right? And so I bring that up because one thing we've gone away from is trying to sell any type of hard sell, anything, but we do want to give enough value that people will go learn. So I appreciate the opportunity for this. We about 17, 18 years ago, started a company called KITS, Keep in Touch Systems. We do a cross-channel marketing system for agents. And so it stems from everything from CRM to having emails and mailouts and flyers and websites and landing pages, calendars. We take care of it all. Like, it is the full one-stop shop for any agent to build a referral machine and generate a ton of new leads. The thing is powerful. From a cost perspective, it keeps people's costs incredibly low, and it takes their ROI and makes it incredibly high. Well, over years of doing that and watching people struggle with what they should be doing for marketing and watching people struggle with, sort of the chaos of the day-to-day of being in real estate, we realized there was a lot of challenges out there. And naturally, the education came in. And the education came in to begin with because we wanted to sell you something. So let's educate you and get you thinking the right way, and then we can sell you something. And it worked. We've got a few thousand active subscribers on Kits. It's been pumping for, like I said, 17 to almost 2 decades now. Funny enough, I'd gotten licensed in real estate just prior to that, and decided to stay with the marketing side of things because it just started to take off, and we were very fortunate about that. So didn't really practice in real estate, but grew up in it. I remember typewriters and black and white, MLS tear sheets and whiteout in the offices. My father owned one for the first 20 years of my life, so I grew up in a real estate office. Getting my license was a natural adjunct. I actually got certified to sell mortgages. I went and got my building code. I was building custom houses. And instead of getting into real estate, started Kits. Kits took off. Well, through this whole process of trying to sell and educate and do, we really found a niche in educating and realized, well, if we're going to continue to educate and not sell, somehow we got to, generate something here. So we opened up a company called Mindshare 101. And Mindshare 101 has been around for probably just over 5 years now. I mean, conceptually, probably close to 10. But as a business, as a company, about 5 years now, and we've been very fortunate. We've had opportunities to keynote major conferences. We've been able to do a lot of training programs for many of the offices and boards and associations across the country, down in the States as well. And we've also got a one-to-one coaching side of that. I mean, we've got group coaching that we offer. The one-to-one is where we really roll up our sleeves together, and we get to really spend time with one individual, helping that person change the course of their life. And that may sound like a bold statement. However, when we look at what it is that we all want, and we really start to break it down, maybe at the forefront, we talk about wanting to make money. And I love money. I don't want to misconstrue this. I really like money. And that's why we do what we do. Otherwise, I'd be riding my motorcycle all day and I'd be playing sports with my kids all day. We got bills to pay. But with all that, now we say, okay, but what's the driving force here? Is it really money? And for all of us, as we fast forward to the end, and I'm talking like the end, nobody ever talks about how much money they wanted. We talk about health. We talk about time with family. So as we fast forward to that and go, well, if we could see the future, and we have all seen it in books and stories and movies and sitcoms and family experiences, it's health and it's time, it's happiness. Okay, so we can see the future, people. What are we doing today, right now, to be able to take ourselves there? And that journey is the one that we take with our clients to help people understand that, to help people achieve that. Because again, if what you want at the end of the day has nothing to do with money, then money is just a line item on our goals. It's not the be all and end all of what we're trying to achieve today. So if I think about making myself better, and I think about taking care of myself, and I think about spending time with my family, and I think about all the other things that I want in life, and I think about building relationships, well then, in the course of my day, I have made myself better by feeding my brain, maybe being physically active and doing some personal development. And I think everybody should be putting that into their days every day, 7 days a week. I think about time with my family, because again, health and time. So let's make sure those are in the schedule, just as important as the listing presentation, just as important as the follow-up calls and the prospecting. Oh, but Dave, those pay the bills. That doesn't. No, but you want to pay bills so you can have that. Let's not forget that. And then we work into the day also, how do we do the prospecting? How do we build the relationships? And how do we actually, get the content together for a podcast or go meet with the clients and do the things that need to be done in order to win? Well, mapping all of that out has become what we do with our one-to-one coaching. And even from a keynote perspective, we try to, deliver that message. But of course, when you're in a big group, it's you're hearing stuff. Maybe you're listening to some of people, but the application comes back to rolling up the sleeves together. And I got to tell you guys, well beyond the money, and that's why I started right off the top. Love money. I don't want to downplay that, but well beyond the money. Truth be told, although that pays the bills, it is so not about the money. Like, to me, it has become motivating for myself. It has become a driver to know that we're helping people get better. I think that's just a special thing, to be able to be in a position where you can help people and you can help them do something and help them get to another place. That is a very, very special thing. And we don't take that for granted. We are incredibly grateful for it. And the fact that people trust us to help them with it, it fuels us. And then when you watch their successes, because I don't call somebody signing up for coaching or hiring me for keto a success. I call it success when everybody comes back and goes, it worked. Like I'm doing it. It happened. Now we're winning. And with the more and more that we've had of those, the businesses continue to grow. And, I guess that's part of what's led us to be able to be here with you guys today on episode 100. So again, a big thank you for that, because it's just another piece of the, the brick that you put on top, that brush stroke that painted, the masterpiece. It's just another piece of it, guys. So that's, in a small nutshell, what we do, who we are.
Dave, I love the story, and I don't think anybody is going to be jumping into the real estate industry and becoming a brokerage owner for the money. And if you do, then you got to give yourself a big reality check. I was very fortunate when I started in this career. I was mentored by a top broker in Toronto. I was literally his personal driver for the first 10 months in the business, and that taught me and gave me unprecedented opportunities. And it's the ability to give back and give that education back to the realtors that I feel so fortunate to be able to do every single day. And I think when you have that sort of a calling, then doing these podcasts, being consistent is easy, is fun. Both David and I are very passionate about giving back. And David Korman, I mean, he's been one of the key partners here at the brokerage this number keeps going up every single time, right? Because, it hasn't been like 37 years now, right? So David Korman's office has been educating and helping our realtors excel for 37 years.
Wow.
That's what we've been doing together, and that's why, 2 years ago, I'm like, David, the amount of value that your office provides to our agents, it's so paramount that, I want to be able to not only provide it to the agents in the office, but I want to give back to the industry as a whole. Right. So when I hear your mission statement and I hear, what you guys are doing, we can relate so much to giving back to the industry and helping realtors live a better lifestyle. And of course, that takes money, right? But money is only, part of the journey of the final destination, right? And the final destination, like, look at both of you guys, like you guys are fit, David Korman, David's a little bit older than us, but he's still athletic. He still plays basketball. He still plays hockey. He's competitive. He tells me all the time, but there's, a hockey game and, he's on the ice with 20-year-olds. And, David, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it next year because these guys are super competitive, and if I get out there, I want to win like crazy, right? But every day, we push ourselves to the limit. And we try to lead by example and inspire and motivate.
Hey,
if you're trying to do the math, David, you're 37 year our business relationship. Yes, I was 10 years old when I started doing it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even around there then, David. I was conceived.
They say, given you shall receive, right? But you cannot give in expecting to receive. You just need to give.
Yeah, and this has been such a good episode, but I think what we have to do is have you back for episode 101, Mindshare 101 on episode 101. Like, how perfect can that be?
I like it.
All right, well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been a great episode 100 with David Greenspan. And David, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you to find out more about kids, to find out more about Mindshare and the one-on-one training and the group training that you guys offer?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Everybody, please go ahead, check out mindshare101.com. You can go to their website. You can learn more about everything we're doing. I do want to encourage everybody to download the Ultimate Marketing Bundle. Is a free download. It will walk you through the 7 different channels that you should be using to get out there and build Mindshare. So cross-channel marketing. How am I going to build my business? What I'm going to do to get more people paying attention to me? So I encourage everybody to download that. It's free, again, at mindshare101.com. And of course, join us on Instagram. My handle is David Greenspan 101. So I look forward to connecting with everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Gentlemen, I thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to be here on the big 100. So a big congratulations to you guys. And yeah, big thank you. Can't wait to do it again.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.